Hey guys, welcome back to Dueling Destination. So I have a new deck profile I would like to share with you guys. I took this to a tournament this week and I felt very confident the way I was using the deck, and it performed really good. I was able to summon out the boss monster, in which is the goal that I wanted to do, and I was actually able to win some games with it. So I have this new profile I want to share with you guys. But before we start off, remember to like, subscribe, share with your friends. Let me know what you guys think, how we can do the deck better. I am working on another deck as well that I want to test out, but I do test them out really good before even profiling them so I can understand more. But we're starting off here because we went with Crystal Beast. I'm starting off with 2 Rainbow Dragons. Normally everyone just uses 1, but I do believe that 2 is necessary in the new playstyle of the deck. My main goal is to summon out Rainbow Dragon. Once I can summon one of them, I can send the other one to the graveyard and it still works out for the fusion, since it still meets the condition that it was summoned. So at least one of them was. So I used 1 Rainbow Dragon, and I'm using one of the Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon because it's one of the good cards that we got in the new structure deck. The structure deck gives this deck a lot of power, so I really like that. Sorry, I'm actually using 2 of them, not 1. I'm also using the main guy here, playset of Pegasus. Pegasus is not once per turn, and I really like that because with the new spell card, Golden Rule, you are able to just manipulate the board very easily and summon out all the crystal beasts that you need to be on the board to have the presence needed for Rainbow Dragon. And in saying so, I do use one of each crystal beast because you want to utilize as much as them as you can for the different names because of the Golden Rule. And I'm keeping it this way. It's very good when you draw into a crystal beast. Anyone really helps out. You do want to send it to the graveyard so Golden Rule can then apply. So I like that. And for a bit more power on the deck, I still want to be as competitive as I can. I decided to go with a playset of Finrairs. And this is very good because a lot of time my opponent thinks I'm playing Castera, so they ash it right away. And I'm still able to play my spell cards, which is very important when playing this deck. And speaking of Ash, that is the hand trap monster that we are using, as the deck is a very spell heavy deck. So when it comes down to the monsters, the utility that you're using is the Crystal Beast. And it's very fun to actually say you're summoning out Crystal Beast. No one really expects much out of it. But with this design, I really like the playstyle. Next, we're going to go into the trap cards. For the trap cards, pretty basic. One of each of the trap cards here. I decided to use evenly matched because in most cases I do want to go second. Going second with this deck is very good since if I evenly and they just leave one monster on board, I can basically win the game there. Attack with my 11,000. So it's going to be good. So yes, 2 evenly. Sorry about that. I forgot that we are using those. And we're using impermanence as well as the other hand trap in the main deck. I do have other hand traps in the side deck, but it is very situational when it comes down to that. So this is what we're using. Now, the most important part of the deck for me, other than just the Crystal Beast monsters, are the spells. Since you use the spells a lot to draw into the cards you want, to remove the cards that are going to be a bit troublesome, so I really like that. And speaking about those, we are talking about the #1 spell card in the deck, that is Rainbow Bridge of the Heart. This is one of the better spell cards that would give you a lot of utility, and you do want to see this first turn. I'm using Awakening since you do want to have the ability to search out, especially now that Golden Rule is considered a crystal card, so it's pretty handy. I'm using Rainbow Bridge. It's not once per turn, and I have even more targets now, so I really like that feature. And we're just keeping it to that 2 crystal bond. The reason I'm just using 2 is because the crystal bonds are actually once per turn, so that is a bit limiting. Now, as I was speaking about Golden Rule, this is one of the main reasons the deck is so powerful. If you draw into this first turn, you have a lot of advantage if you can get a Crystal Beast monster to the grave. And with the first spell card that I showed you guys, the Bridge of the Heart card, you can actually do that to pop the Crystal Beast in hand, and you can go to the grave, use Golden Rule, and you have about 3 different Crystal Beast names already just with that, and you'll be able to search the crystal ball needed, you summon Pegasus, you draw into that. So you see how the combos can go even further then. So this is very powerful. So you don't want to see this more than one copy in hand when you're starting. And it's a once hard per turn, so it's very difficult to see multiple copies and still play. I decided to use triple copies of tactics. The reason is just because when people do interact and try to stop me, if they drill me, I can at least rip a card out of my opponent's hand or take control of a powerful monster and still try to build a board. I was drilled in a matchup and I still ended up using Pegasus set and then still be able to do a lot more that I needed, and I ended up having a number 41, a number 60, I believe that's the number, yep, and IP. So I was able to interact with my opponent. When you see my extra deck, you'll see why. And going second, I do still consider using Dart Ruler no more. I know I'm not going to be able to OTK at that point, but I will have the field advantage and get rid of a lot of my opponent's monsters. So that's it for spells. For the extra deck, it's kind of up to personal preference and how you want to build up the extra deck. But I decided to go with one Dongder Magician, one number 60. This is a very good card in the deck. This is a flex spot. I'm using it for Abyss Dweller. I'm using one number 41 and also one Zeus to round up the XYZs. For the Link monsters, which is a big part of the extra deck, I am using one Cross Sheep, one IP, and one Unicorn. With the Unicorn interaction, it helps out a lot. Again, I can get a lot of my monsters to the grave, and Crystal Beasts don't mind going to the grave anymore because now with 2 Rainbow Dragons, you can utilize them even if they're on the grave. I still use a copy of the World Seek Dragon with Ruby. It's really good, but you don't really depend on that play anymore. Skull Dread is still a really good card, and of course Apollosa. A lot of times it is considered that your opponent might summon a monster that the Crystal Beast or even your monsters cannot get rid of very easily, and that's why we're deciding to use one of the Goddess. This is very good, and because of Ruby, again, you can summon out enough monsters so that you can just link your opponent's monster away. For the fusions, I'm just using one Rainbow over Dragon. It is very powerful and the effect is very important, but a lot of times, I'll be honest with you guys, I just use this for bait. People try to stop it, and at that point, I already have Rainbow Dragon in the grave, which allows me to then summon out the big guy, which I go for game. If you can bait up most of the indicates and just go for game, it works out really good. Now for the side deck, it depends on your locals, how the meta is on there. My locals is always a bit diverse. Never know what you're going to play against, so it's really hard sometimes to decide on what you want to use. So now for the hand traps. For the hand trap, it really depends on your locals and what the format is like, but a good starter for hand traps is always going to be Drill and Lockbird. At the start of the format, a lot of people like to search and just build a big board. Drill stops a lot of people there. I'm using 2 copies of Nib. It's unexpected, of course. You might need some rogue decks. For protection, a lot more I use Sony Judgment. I like this because Sony Judgment just lets me interact more with my opponent. And for Despia, of course, we need this guy. Whenever we go first, just play this. We're going to be all good from there. Now to clear boards, I'm using Dark Hole, Twin Twisters. These are actually supposed to be Cosmic Cyclones, but I do not own any Cosmic Cyclones. So Twin Twisters seem to work pretty good since I can also discard my Crystal Beast to just build up the graveyard with Crystal Beast. And finally, Harpy's Feather Duster. So this is what I have for the deck profile. I'm hoping you guys like it and let me know what you think. I do have a new deck profile coming up and I've been getting those cards. I've been working towards them to see the style and play style of it, and I think it's going to be really good for the new format, so just keep an eye out for it. And remember, if you like this video, like, subscribe, share with your friends, and tell me what you think about the design of the deck, and I'll see you guys next time.